Tar was directed by Todd Field and is a movie that I heard about from film festivals and some buzz from critics that I wanted to check out. This movie has been in theaters for a couple of weeks, although it just arrived in my neighborhood, and it stars Cate Blanchett as a fictional, important to iterate this fact, fictional composer named Lydia Tarr, who is someone who is at the top of her game. She is one of the most successful composers in the world. Every single thing that you can think of achieving as a composer, she has. And so she's pretty much untouchable when it comes to attaining that level of status in this world. And she's days away from essentially releasing something that is monumental to her career, which is going to change everything. And what follows is essentially a psychological drama that starts playing out in terms of what she's going through all of a sudden and some of the twists and turns that come around her way in her life that start to tamper with this particular power position. I think most people would agree that when it comes to actors of our time, some of the greatest, and in fact, even going so far as to say some of the greatest who've ever been there, Cate Blanchett, she's an actress who has never missed for me. Like, I think she's a powerhouse. And so whenever I see her in a movie and whenever I hear she's going to be in a movie, I'm expecting greatness. And Tar is honestly a top three display when it comes to Cate Blanchett. There is a performance in here that something that constantly amazes me about her is that she's constantly able to bring something new every single time she's in a movie. And there is absolutely no exception to the cause over here. She is giving an Oscar nominee worthy performance, and she probably is going to get the nomination. I think she will. I mean, in a just world, she does. So, and I think it's pretty much a lock. She is very commanding throughout this film, and it's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 37 minutes long. This movie is asking you for your patience. But throughout that entire runtime, which you barely feel, by the way, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I never felt it that long. She has your attention. But make no mistake, the supporting cast around her is also doing a really, really good job. It's great to see Naomi Merlan again. If you saw Portrait of a Lady on Fire, she was in that. Nina Hoss is also really great in this movie. The young cellist who is also in the film, she's someone new who's joined the orchestra. Her name is sort of escaping me right now. She is fantastic in the movie as well. So they definitely get their points in as well. But it's kept anchored thanks to Blanchett's performance as well as Todd Field's direction, who's made his first film right now since, I think, Little Children in 2006. I watched Little Children when it came out in 2000. Well, not in 2006. I watched it years later. That was a very good movie. And I was actually surprised that there had been such a big gap since then in terms of his filmography. But he comes in here swinging. Like, his direction over here is genuinely immaculate. Some spectacularly directed sequences. Hildur Guðnadóttir's score is also excellent. It's one of the best scores of the year. Another composer who has yet to sort of miss a beat, no pun intended, and she does an amazing job once again. Probably another lock for a nomination. I know it's weird to talk about nominations like right now so soon, but sometimes you just see something, you're like, that's probably going to end up there. And it just feels like this is one of those scores, this is one of those performances that you just see being in that pantheon. Maybe I'll be wrong, who knows. I hope I'm not. I hope this is one of those things that just works out. But the movie's main themes and its main concepts go around the subject of power and essentially how much you can sort of be, as the director himself says, hoisted by your own petard. And I kind of understand why after seeing it, because the film definitely handles the, sort of pros and cons of power, but it's also the consequences of what you did to attain such power. And the film is very timely in the fact that it's also dealing with themes and concepts, as well as it's taking from real life things that have happened. Like, I believe, they wrote the pandemic into the movie for what it's worth. But besides that, it's like it's taking place in a world where there are certain things you've seen in the news cycle that will come up during this thing. And I think the film's handling of those things makes for a very compelling story, but also an unflinching story. It doesn't try to mince words at any point or try and sort of veer away from things in any way. It makes its objective very clear, and it also manages to do so by being minimal. Like, it doesn't try to necessarily bombard you with a lot of very graphic stuff, let's just put it that way, or try to allude, to something, but like it keeps it very grounded and focused. And I think the film pulls that off really, really well. And sort of the turmoil that Tar is going through as the film progresses, and the things that she's seeing and the things that are affecting her more and more, and as she's crumbling apart in some situations closer to this big performance that's coming up, it's really, really riveting, and it creates for a very tension filled movie. Like, I could honestly say at times it felt like sort of even a psychological thriller, like something a la Black Swan or something like that. Like, there were definitely, like, I think this would honestly make a pretty great double feature with that movie, and to a degree. I mean, I'll leave that opinion to the experts in the field. But overall, walking out of Tar, I was very happy with this film. I think it is one of the year's best for sure. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out. It's in theaters now. It's a film that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It has a lot of things that I feel like are going to sort of not connect with everybody, but I do know a lot of people seem to be loving it so far. I haven't seen a single person not love it so far, so I think it'll still end up working. That's my optimistic feeling on it, and I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts. I'm gonna give Tar a 9.5 out of 10. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.